So here we are on turn 7 of Geronimo, and I don't think these videos are very exciting, but third player, guy in last place, ended up getting the draw of the U.S. That makes a big difference from last turn. He's a good 30 points out of first place. So nobody's really going to be looking to hurt the U.S. particularly. On the other hand, the fourth player with his big 70 points, which gives him a 10-point lead on the next competitor, had to pick last with his tribes. So he's probably not going to be in first place after this because there's at least two people kind of close behind him. Player 1 and 2 are both right around 60 points. Alright, first time around the board, the U.S. started heavily investing in Washington. They're about ready to become a state if they make it to the end of the turn. With that mission there, it's really unlikely. There's only the Bannock could have hit them, and they went into Nevada. They're kind of weak anyway. We see some of the tribes revealed. One of the things that happened was a couple of tribes are in dangerous shape at 1 strength point each. Because of that, the Pawnee and the Coeur d'Alene both negotiated, even though these are two of one of them is the leader, and the other one's well up there. Actually, he's in 4th place, but with the Sioux, he's actually bringing some good points in. They were used. The U.S. player allowed them both to go on reservation, getting what'll be 2 points in exchange for not killing them, which would be 3-point losses each. There was definitely some grumbling about the Pawnee going over because they were player number 4s and he's so far in the lead. The Sioux looked like they were about ready to score massive points. They pulled in 9 points off their first action, hitting the city in Minnesota and wiping Carlton out pretty heavily. The other players kind of reacted to that. A peace chief was placed in South Dakota to prevent them from going raiding, and smallpox hit the village in North Dakota, calling them back. I think that's how it's supposed to be played. I like the smallpox card. It's a powerful way to stop someone. Anyway, the feeling is that they were going to rack up so many points with the Sioux that they had to be stopped. The Arapaho went in and hit the mine. They're probably going to hit the city as well. And they're actually going to be probably cranking some heavy points too, so people might want to consider hitting them next. Alright, after the second time around, a little bit in turn 7, a little bit of interesting stuff actually happened. The U.S. finished up the statehood requirements in Washington. Then they moved down and started populating Utah. But a bunch of mines started showing up in Colorado, Oregon, but most importantly in Montana. And the gold rush in Montana looks like that's going to cause statehood there instead of in Utah. What else? We got a peace chief on the Blackfoot. Again, this was played by an Indian player. The goal here is to prevent the other Indian players from generating points. And anything else exciting happen? Not yet. After the final time around the board in turn 7 in Geronimo, major effects we've seen. The U.S. did very, very well. It looks like they're going to get Washington, Idaho, Utah, and Nebraska all converted this turn. There's nothing to prevent that. A number of the tribes were put at risk. The U.S. player played the agency corruption card, which allowed them to pull all the tribes that they gave 0 points to back out of reservation and onto the map. And they left the poor Pawnee sitting where they're going to die, which makes everybody else a little happier. They allowed the Coeur d'Alene to go back on reservation for 2 points there. We're going to see what happens with the rest of them, but it turned out to be a pretty good turn for them. They drew a lot of mines. Even later they kept getting them to help defend territories like Nevada and such. Did a lot of damage to the Indians too. So a massive swing turn. I apologize for the darkness. I blew out my light and have to get to the hardware store, but I wanted to finish up the turn. So letting the US player basically have their free way and fighting amongst each other in terms of playing cards to prevent Indian players from getting points maybe wasn't the best of moves, and I had this suspicion. What we see is 5 tribes went on reservation again. That's 10 points. Okay, that's fine. But 4 states is another 24 points. And that put the U.S. up to 80 in the lead. The player number 3. That's all the way down from 43, well behind. Other players who did well, player 1, who had the Arapaho, Comanche, Crow, he made a good deal of points and is in 2nd place. Behind that, player 4, who was previously in the lead, lost points because the Pawnee died and he didn't gain anything. So those are really the 3 players who are in it. Everybody else is 20 points behind, but maybe if they get the U.S., they can make that ground up. I'm not sure. So on to the last turn.